But this just makes it so much clearer and, okay, you understand where these people lie.
It's like fantasy football like that.
You need the exact statistic, you can find it,
Because the top 5 candidates, so Lawrence Wong is like the star striker.
Star striker. He's like the Ronaldo. Your FIFA rating, right? They will give ultimate team.
5-star, bro.
Yeah.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terrence?
Good old humor.
Good old humor, man.
Welcome back.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
How was it?
I think our Yellowbat podcast had the biggest social media growth in the time that you were away.
Wonderful.
Hundreds of new followers on Instagram. A lot of comments.
We had
a YouTube video with the most comments ever.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. In the time that you were away, lah, and not in the video, lah.
Did you really go and check every video historically?
No. But
the social media growth, did you go back and check historically?
I can't verify 100%, but I'm willing to put a fair bit amount of money.
I don't know whether it's the fastest growth in a 2-week period.
Because I deal with it quite a lot day to day. Yeah. So on Instagram, a lot of people are responding very well to the 2 podcasts that we recorded then with Tanya and Jackie. Also even Jackie. Yeah.
And some mentions in the press also, right?
Yeah. We came up in the press in the time that you were away as well. Young Man Wai put out in some ways a self-corrective statement.
Yeah, which then led to a Mothership article, an independent article. Compared to the time when you were away in December, I think when comments were like we were selling out.
Stuff was just a lot quieter.
Yeah. It's okay lah, Terrence, it's okay.
Okay lah, but welcome back. Welcome back to...
Thanks.
I mean, you think I'm shitting on you, but at the same time, I did even mention on the podcast that, sometimes Harish, there's some things that he's really better at lah. Like in terms of like digging up the news and the information and laying it out. Because I sat in your position when I was recording those podcasts with people.
And then you had to be the one with the tabs open and all.
And there was 100% expectation that I would be covering everything because they were guests, right? They were hosts, but they were guests. Yeah. But in this situation, then I realized, Harish is pretty good at this thing.
Thanks.
But I must say also, I'm a pretty good counter puncher that way also lah.
You could have just ended it there, and then make me feel a little I was a bit more appreciative. But now
I appreciate it.
Yeah. No, you never compliment someone and then compliment yourself.
No, okay.
It doesn't work like that.
I'm not complimenting myself. I'm saying
you just said
the dynamic somehow makes it a better thing. Like you watch a fight, it's not a fun fight if it's just a one-sided beatdown, right? Sometimes you need both sides to be able to counter punch. Then it's a good match, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
But you could but you totally did compliment yourself. You literally said I'm a pretty good counter puncher.
I did.
You did.
And again, we mentioned how much growth Yalabat saw in the time that you were away. Let's just leave it at that.
I mean, there are other external factors also, helped by certain MPs and all.
Yeah.
But I mean, while I was away, there were certain pieces of news that came out that would have been great, that I think now is a bit late to cover already.
Yeah. But the fun thing is every time you go away anyone goes away for an extended period of time from Singapore, usually you come back with some kind of epiphany, right? About life in Singapore. Like, what was it for you this time? Like, what do you feel about Singapore when you got back,
I think a reminder of how dense it is. Because when I went to Italy, we were in the city, Rome, and then Florence, and then a smaller town for a wedding. But there's just, in most countries, there's a lot of space. And it just, now, in Singapore, you're thinking everything is limited resource. You need to, even when you think about housing, it's such a big topic, limited resource. But wow, you go to a country that just has space, it makes you think, oh shit, there's actually so much space in the world. And
so you mean it as a good thing or a bad thing?
I mean, it can go both ways because when there's too much space also, then your common amenities and all are a lot further out.
Right?
Yeah, but it just makes you realize that, Singapore there's such a big world outside of Singapore.
Correct,
I think every time I travel, I'm like, oh shit, Singapore is just a very small part of a huge world. But also makes you look at it in a certain way. Like within such a small area, there's so much.
Yeah.
And you go to a country like Italy, which is not the biggest country, but it really feels like, everything is so spread out.
Yeah. Do you get to visit the Pope as well?
No. Because at first I thought Vatican City, you can actually go into Vatican City, but you can't. You can go into certain parts that are open to tourists on the circumference, like the Sistine Chapel and Saint Peter's Basilica, but you can't go into Vatican City. So I tried to go in, but then the guard stopped me. And the guard is wearing like the 16th century guards, like a purple outfit or something.
Puffy pants. And
he gave me a salute. Then after that, I was like, so can I go in? He's like, no.
He gave you a salute?
I think I just said like, hello. He just, hello.
I see.
He just give me a salute.
I suppose it's maybe because it just so happened that you are not the most famous Indian Singaporean who was in Italy at that point of time. You know.
Who else was there?
Tarman was there while you were there.
Oh, yeah. Tarman met the Pope. Yeah, correct. I was like, fuck lah.
We should meet up. Hey, let's meet up, man. Oh, yeah.
I saw that after he left. I saw the articles come out. Yeah. He met the Pope.
What a coincidence. Your president is there.
Yeah, he met the Pope.
Can you imagine if like something happened to you while you were there and then like, Tarman is there.
Tarman has to shepherd me home. Walao. Then I'll be like, hey, how come you never come on our podcast last year? Exactly. Oh, yeah, he was there.
Yeah. Correct, but I mean, must have, and you're also there during the Euros, right?
Yeah.
So must have the atmosphere must have been quite shook.
Actually, in Italy, I found out like a lot of people watch the games at home. So in bars, it's not the most readily available. I got a chance to watch one Italy game live at a eatery, but it wasn't like how I would imagine if Singapore is qualified for an international tournament, how the mood would be. Which was a bit surprising. It was also in a smaller town.
Yeah.
You know, even when we were in Rome, it was playing. Yeah, it felt quite muted. I was quite surprised. Like nothing on the streets, people watching and all.
Disappointing in some ways.
Disappointing.
Yeah.
So, but the only good thing is the timing works a lot better.
Oh yeah, of course.
Now in Singapore, the earliest game is at midnight.
Yeah, and then the later stages is all 3 a.m.
Yeah, so that is a bit shitty.
Yeah. But overall, thankful to be back in Singapore?
Yeah.
Thankful.
Yeah, thankful.
Kiss the ground, like, that kind of thing.
Not until like that. Not until like that. But I mean, thankful. Like, I'm glad. You know how some people, sometimes I hear from my friends, they go abroad, they're dreading coming back to Singapore.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, they hate their work or some shit like that. No, I didn't feel any of that at all. I felt, okay, it was a long enough break. And I'm back and I recharged creatively.
Oh, okay.
It's a fucking shack.
Yeah.
Tired, but recharged creatively.
Okay.
So good.
It's good.
Any epiphanies while I was away?
I mean, something, I guess, like some people mention this even in listening to Yalabat. So having the cadence of the recording keeps your mind just constantly plugged into the ground. And I think we didn't have it, when I didn't have it this time, I was like, this last 2 weeks, I felt a bit more disconnected from what's going on in the news. Then I guess that's the common experience for a lot of people. When you get busy with work and all these things, you don't read the papers or whatever. You just start to feel very disconnected from stuff going on around you. And you start to only think about, the stuff in your immediate bubble.
Actually, that's true. Because I also I saw certain of the bigger issues pop up, even when I was there just checking. But apart from that, I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. But in some ways, it was nice to... that even in the last couple of weeks, I've met people who just come out to me in the streets and like, hey, what happened, man? Like, why come you have no new episode talking about the mural or anything like that? And I explained that Harish is on pilgrimage. He's going to see the Vatican. And they're like, oh, okay. But people are saying that they miss listening to it regularly.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
And I mean, I wouldn't call it a pilgrimage.
Don't worry, you'll have your chance soon when he comes in
September. He comes and graces our country.
Yeah.
But I mean, still interesting. And just walking in a place that there's so much history at every corner, it blows your mind.
Yeah.
Like even I found some interesting facts, like the founding of Rome also. There's no real fact on who actually founded Rome, and the mythology is like these twins that were brought up by a wolf whose mother was impregnated by the god of Mars, and that's the founding of Rome.
That's the Sang Nila Utama.
That's the Sang Nila Utama.
Also, not very sure if it's 100% accurate kind of thing, right?
Yeah. So it's insane, So then you come back to Singapore, you're like, oh shit, we only the modern Singapore is only 60 years old.
Yeah, and you completely missed the ecological disaster that was the oil spill in Singapore. So
I did.
Away completely.
I did.
Yeah. It was a big thing for a couple of days.
But could you see the effects of it?
I mean, if you went to the beaches, you could smell it. Yeah.
Oh,
everyone was talking about it for a while.
Yeah, I totally missed that also.
I missed it. I think now mostly
But
cleared.
you spoke to Jackie about that, right?
Yeah. Had a good discussion about it. Yeah. And that's one of the 2 podcasts that came out while you're gone.
Yeah. But now we're back. And raring to go. Man.
And but before we jump to that, like, what is the one thing that we always have to tell people?
That if you've enjoyed this podcast, or if you're enjoying this podcast right now, it'd be great if you could follow us or subscribe to us wherever you're listening or watching. Follow us on Instagram, on TikTok, because we upload shorter clips there. And according to Terrence, we had a recent surge in growth on Instagram while I was away. And what else, Terrence?
If you want to work with us, check out ministryoffunny.com.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Shall we jump right in?
Into the first topic, man. And the first topic is fresh off the 29th June weekend, which was the 16th iteration of Pink Dot. It was Pink Dot 2024.
Yeah.
Were you there, Terrence?
No, I was not. Yeah,
neither was I.
Yeah,
neither was I. Yeah. But I mean, a lot of news. I mean, a good amount of news. I don't know whether it's just me or whether it's because I was away, but the build up to Pink Dot felt less widespread this year. Right.
Yeah. I mean, maybe because the repeal of 3778 happened already.
Yeah, and this is the second Pink Dot since the repeal.
Yeah, repeal was in 2022, right?
Yeah, 2022. And the specific thing about the news that we are talking about is, the fact that a bunch of MPs were seen there, from PAP, from WP, from PSP as well, and I think SDP. And Red Dot United as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, just reactions to that. And also the discovery of a scorecard of politicians.
Yeah.
Based on their perspectives or support for LGBTQ rights. So that was the latest news.
Yeah.
But did you see a lot on social media about Pink Dot?
I think a lot of people are posting about being at Pink Dot. But the most immediate thing was, that there were MPs from both sides, PAP and opposition, present at Pink Dot.
Yeah.
And all that coinciding with the news of Protect Singapore having the scorecard.
Yeah.
Because the reminder is that Protect Singapore was also the one that was instigating a lot of protest against the Science Centre talk. Remember the Science Centre talk on...
the one that we covered also.
Yeah, about gender, right?
Yeah.
That ended up being cancelled.
Yeah, it was Protect Singapore.
So now they've come up with a quite professional-looking scorecard where you can search by candidate, by political party, by ranking and everything of how progressive or how conservative their views are.
Yeah, and incidentally, I think they based the visuals of it on the Mothership website.
Yeah. Even the font is similar, man. Like, wow.
Yeah, what the hell, man? Like, it's literally, there's a website with a scorecard.
Yeah.
You open it, you're like, oh shit, is this a sub-page of Mothership?
Yeah.
But no, it's a PSG scorecard.
Yeah.
So, they like what you say, right? They literally have a few different tabs. Like, if you tap on candidates, it's almost like, when you're buying hotels, you can choose by star rating, right?
Yeah.
You can choose by 0.5 all the way up to 5-star rating.
Yeah.
With 5-star being like very in line with Protect Singapore.
Yeah.
So 5 stars, if you click 5 stars, the filter, certain names that come up, you get Christopher D'Souza, K. Shanmugam, Lawrence Wong, Lee Hsien Loong, Gerald Giam, and Masagos. And if you go to the other extreme, or 0.5, you get people like Hazel Phua, He Ting Ru, Chua Keng Wee, and Tan Yaswam.
Yeah.
So it's literally 0.5 rating. That also, you can see it as the most progressive versus the least progressive.
Yeah.
But this scorecard, right? Like did it surprise you when you saw this scorecard?
Not say surprised, but okay. I think what surprised me, it's a pretty good website. Like, if you really think about it, like they tell you what criteria they use to grade these individuals as well. So it's very clear, and they even cite the instances and stuff that each of these candidates did, whether they attended Pink Dot wearing pink, whether they spoke up in Parliament about Pink Dot, whether they spoke about LGBT rights, whether they even spoke about things like cancel culture. They go down to that level of detail, and I was frankly quite like, wow, okay, this is a useful resource to, just understand what your constituents, leaders are saying about this issue. So actually, it doesn't even matter whether you are, which side of the spectrum that you are.
It's just a useful
It's a useful tool, for me to see who is more progressive also and to understand their views better.
Because it's literally like booking a hotel.
Yeah.
Because you click on anyone, like Jamus Lim, for example, you get a chronology of his dealings with in the field of LGBTQ.
Yeah.
So literally 2022 attended Pink Dot. 2023 said the repeal of Section 377A was almost a no-brainer. 2022 liken LGBTQ identities to race.
Yeah.
And so on.
Yeah.
So they literally have it for every MP, I guess.
And they provide like the YouTube URL that you can go and watch the speech and everything also. So it's quite thorough. And I don't know whether maybe they even use AI or something to like scrub through like speeches and all to pull this out. It's pretty impressive. Huh?
Yeah. So maybe they don't realize that even for someone who is pro-LGBTQ, you coming here, it's a good resource to find out.
Useful because it's not political. It's not partisan that way at all. Both BAP and Workers' Party have people who have 5-star ratings.
Yeah.
Both BAP and opposition have people who are like half-star ratings also, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they are like, oh shit. If you just literally change the logo at the top left, the PSG scorecard, and you just say pro-LGBTQ scorecard, and you reverse the rating, you actually get the exact opposite.
But some of the language they need to change. One of the criteria spoke about harms of LGBTQ plus ideology.
Oh, yeah, true.
Straight away they say,
Yeah. So I mean, the criteria essentially is support definition of man-woman marriage, protect policies from LGBTQ ideology, support freedom of religion and conscience, never attended Pink Dot, and spoke about harms of LGBTQ ideology.
Yeah. But were you surprised that, you look at the top 5 candidates, immediately out of them, 2 out of the top 5 are Workers' Party candidates. Did that surprise you?
Actually, no, because I remember, I think at some point Pritam in the past said that the WP is not going to explicitly call for the repeal of 377A because internally they couldn't get consensus.
He lifted the whip, remember?
He lifted the whip.
They were debating about 377A and then he lifted the whip, meaning like you let your party members vote or speak however
that means it's not a unified kind of
party
thing.
approach.
And I remember Gerald Giam was quite vocal at that point.
Which surprised some people. But that just seeing it like laid out like this, with the photo and the name and every instance that they said, solidified it for me. Like you, I had the impression that there were a couple of people, but I forgot after some time. But this just makes it so much clearer and you understand where these people lie.
And it's like fantasy football like that.
You need the exact statistic, you can find it,
Because the top 5 candidates, so Lawrence Wong is like the star striker.
Star striker. He's like the Ronaldo. Your FIFA rating, right? They will give ultimate team.
5-star, bro.
Yeah.
And his quote is, the PAP government will not change the current definition of marriage. It will not happen under my watch.
Yeah.
The most quotable quote ever,
Yeah.
But this is not the first time that there was actually some sort of scorecard, no?
Oh, yeah.
Because in 2020, there was the LGBTQ rights group called Sayoni that looked at statements from Singapore politicians from 2011 all the way to 2020. And they published a less interactive document. It was a PDF that, to a certain extent, went more detailed into their methodology and their definition of what a silent or fence-sitting politician is. And their grading was A to F. And the highest score was actually Shanmugam.
Really?
He got an A. Some other A scorers was Tan Chuan Jin, Kenneth Jayaratnam, Daniel Goh, and Paul Tambia. So this one also went into quite much detail, but it was a PDF, so it was less interactive. But they did it as a LGBTQ rights activist group. So almost like the opposite of Protect Singapore.
So you said Shanmugam was the highest scorer?
Yeah, highest scorer.
Then what's his score now on this list? Do you know?
Oh, actually, we can see now.
Yeah, because I did not think to search for Shanmugam in there.
I actually think quite high also. I think
5-star?
Yeah, 5-star.
Oh.
Oh.
That's opposite of what the other study is saying, right?
Yeah, because literally, like, for the way they did their methodology, right? They looked at engagement with LGBTQ groups, affirmative inclusion of LGBTQ issues from the perspective of consistency and frequency, advocacy for non-discrimination, non-violence towards LGBTQ, and demonstrations of awareness of LGBTQ specific challenges. And across all the politicians at that point, Shanmugam was the only one who got a tick for all those.
Yeah.
And he got the highest score of 5. Oh, that's
but like what you say, maybe it's different criteria, because over here on this Protect Singapore scorecard, I think they're also grading him based on certain things that they've implemented about, like, say, foreign entities funding, like Pink Dot, things like that. So those things matter also.
That's right. But he never attend Pink Dot.
He never attend Pink Dot, yeah. So it's quite interesting, because, then you look up, like Daryl David's picture was all over social media also. Then he attended Pink Dot wearing pink, right? But if you look up Daryl David's scorecard here, I don't think it reflects his attendance at the latest Pink Dot.
Yeah.
So maybe there needs to be some updating. But so it's interesting that the study the scorecard that you saw in 2020,
which was LGBTQ rights activism, and this is the opposite. Shanmugam, fucking A student, man.
He's one foot in each boat, and fucking everyone's loving him.
That is a master politician.
Wow.
Oh, you go. It's almost like as a politician, you go to the left wing party, you are Mr. Popular. You go to the right wing party, you're Mr. Popular.
Yeah, correct.
Damn,
Can't
man.
do no wrong, man.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Master politician.
But that's why I thought, like, actually, as much as people are very disgusted by what the scorecard was trying to imply, I thought it's a useful resource. Right?
So it's not, the glass is not half empty.
It's
half full.
Yeah. But I guess if anything, then you start to see that, I think it started off as a Wear White movement, remember? Years ago. In response to Pink Dot, there was a Wear White movement. Then I think a few years back, there was a Protect Singapore town hall that was organized during Pride Month or so, right?
Yeah.
And now, they are, using social media and everything to get the word out.
Actually, they are quite savvy.
Getting quite organized and all.
Because when we were talking about the Science Centre debate, I think they weren't credited in mainstream media, but in the Telegram group, they did kind of like wax lyrical about how their own messages in Telegram mobilize the crowd. Right. So they are already using Telegram. They are using these sort of platforms to amass a community. Their website is, it's more interactive and more searchable than the PDF by Sayoni. Like they are leveling up, man.
And almost holding each MP accountable for things that they've said. Which is, we've always talked about. That in the previous iteration, I think there were people who even like used bots that could go through
the statements
and pull out what MP said, right? That's useful if you know what you're searching for. But this one goes to the next level and they curate for you.
Specific
LGBTQ issues.
Actually, this might spawn a whole range. If you imagine, right, already there was one website that looks through everything that ministers have said on any given issue. But maybe we do need a resource where you have all the important things that are important to different people, and you can literally see how your candidates stack up.
Could be climate change or something.
It's literally when you're going, like, you're buying stuff online, you want to compare products, right? You click, and then you compare.
You see the exact ratings there, you know exactly what is important.
Got reviews.
Who knows, man? Maybe these guys, they're
onto something.
Yeah, they're onto something, and then they're going to get hired to build these other websites for other causes and all.
Or maybe GovTech will just buy it and say it was their idea.
Oh I don't know if they buy that, they're political suicide for them.
Or maybe just some. Actually, I can't imagine it as a thing that will come out from a political party, because sometimes you don't want to play out all your cards, right? But like these sort of grassroots, ground up initiatives, quite useful.
So imagine, if Aware, did something like that, but for like women's issues, scorecards or what, that would be useful for people to understand who you're voting for exactly.
And like Acres did it for pets,
animal welfare,
welfare and all.
True.
But one thing that when reading about like the Pink Dot, it never occurred to me until I saw some statements by the spokesperson, Clementine, and just general discussions around Pink Dot. One question that led them to come up with their slogan for this year, being "No One Left Behind."
Yeah.
Is because for the longest time, right, the Pink Dot rallying cry was to get 377A repealed.
Yeah.
But now that it is repealed, what is the next thing that would really bring people together? So some perspectives are like, okay, this might lead to less momentum, a more like fractured community, because there are now not just one rallying cry, multiple. So and also the leadership of Singapore is going to be changing very soon. But I think according to the Pink Dot organizers, is never going to stop. It's just deciding what the priority is.
Yeah.
But I never thought about it that way. Now that 377A is repealed, because that was always the push, right, for Pink Dot.
Yeah.
So
I think Pink Dot, will evolve and will take some time to also, figure out what's the next cause, the next step, right?
Yeah. But I mean, one thing that was interesting was I think when the reporters spoke to Eric Chua and Daryl David from the PAP, they gave their statements. But for He Ting-Ru, Jamus, and Louis Cha from WP, they didn't speak to the media. They just declined to comment.
Yeah.
Declined to be interviewed.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe it's a party stance, because PSP also, a few people attended, and I think a spokesperson spoke to the media. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
That WP didn't want to say anything.
Yeah. But I think some of the commenters online were, at least on the Facebook, on the Instagram post, were like, curious to find out what Tan Chuan Jin's score on this PSG scorecard would be.
He's not there. Oh yeah, he's not there.
He's not there. I mean,
but the 2020 report, he was there. And he actually also scored 3.5. So after Shanmugam, he was next highest score.
Oh, decent. Yeah.
Yeah. Because in 2019, he responded to the HIV registry data leak on Facebook. Whether you are for or against LGBT is irrelevant. For that matter, heterosexuals do contract HIV too. And in 2016, also in another statement, 3.5.
Yeah.
But now, don't know.
But so what do you think of people who are very angered by this scorecard and say that go away, protect Singapore?
I mean, the good thing is it's not violent, right? It is not kind of spewing incorrect facts.
Yeah.
The rating system, of course, that you can argue whether it's the most justified. But if they're just summarizing things that have been said, I don't think it's they do what they want to do.
If anything, I think it should galvanize other groups also, right?
Yeah.
To do scorecards like that.
Yeah.
That help you as a layperson understand your MPs better.
Yeah.
That's helpful for everyone.
Because I don't know whether other countries also have this, but now the more we talk about it, it feels like it makes total sense.
Yeah.
Because I think even one of the most difficult things to navigate, let's say insurance, right? So many times it's so fucking complicated because every insurance provider kind of provides the same thing, but there are all these little differences. And I think only a few years ago, there was a government comparing tool or something across insurance providers, which is very useful.
Yeah.
So why not have something for politicians? And maybe it's something to get people to do stuff about causes that they care about.
Correct. Yeah.
Interesting, huh?
Interesting. Yeah. I quite fascinated by how professional looking this whole thing
Singapore.
is. Yeah.
They just use the AI tool and copy Mothership.
Yeah, and they also released it during Pride Month, right?
Yeah,
in time for Pride Month,
during Pride Month.
So impressive.
But interesting. I think Pink Dot is going to carry on for the near future, and good for them, Good for them.
Yeah. The funny thing is, I was switching windows between this and Mothership, and I almost forgot which page was which because they look so alike.
I wonder how Mothership feels.
Yeah.
Literally, the color all is also the same, man.
Yeah, the font and even the size of the logo and all that also very, very similar. Yeah.
Yeah. Very similar.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, speaking of people taking the effort to do a lot of extracurricular stuff, there's a group of young people who also now have permission to do a lot of extracurricular stuff on Wednesday afternoons, right?
Yeah.
But some people are complaining about it again. But what is this? Who are this group of people?
It's NUS students. And apparently, I mean, the title or the headline is NUS students can take Wednesday afternoons off from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. for out-of-class activities. And it's part of like their holistic approach to achieve a well-rounded university experience.
Yeah.
So the first headline I read was something on like one of those online publications. The second was from NUS themselves. It's an initiative to ease transition into university life for freshmen and encourage greater self-directed personal growth and development from the first year. That Wednesday off is I guess one of the things that are happening lah. But when you saw that headline, what came to mind?
So my initial understanding was that they would not allow classes to be scheduled from 3 to 6 p.m. on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
They block off a 3-hour time slot so that people can do what they want to do. But as I read a bit more, my understanding is that there can still be classes, but it basically is up to you whether you want to go or not. And you can't be, I think what it is, you can't be penalized for not attending these classes. Like maybe they will institute that the lecturers will have to record the classes or offer e-learning modules in place of that class or something.
Yeah.
It's just a university sanctioned like timeout in some ways. Where there's no expectation that you need to do this on this particular 3-hour time slot on a weekday. Yeah. Well, I mean, what do you feel about it when you first heard about it?
It made it seem like they're in daycare.
Why?
Because, I mean, okay, so I like both of us didn't study locally.
Yeah.
But I would imagine, or at least what I've heard just talking to people who have, university, yes, there's classes and all, but it's not like primary school, secondary school where, 7 a.m. to lunch and then finish and then your afternoon session, and maybe now single session is just a very set time. University, I felt there was more fluidity. And also like going to lectures, I can imagine some classes attendance being part of the grade.
Yeah.
But also some classes like you don't go for lectures and all, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
So when I saw this, I'm like, oh shit, there's a mandated Wednesday afternoon 3 to 6 p.m. that finally students don't go for classes if they want to, if they don't want to. I thought that was already something students could do.
Yeah. And I think people are saying, online, people are calling out this move also because they say that university is maybe the first time in your academic life that you have complete control on your own schedule.
Yeah.
You choose what classes you want to do and you can schedule how you like it. You can have a 3-day week if you manage to squeeze everything in. You can 4-day, 5-day, whatever you want. But it's all up to you. And it takes away from this mandating this 3 to 6 p.m. timeout takes away from the students' ability to do that because suddenly there's this block where you cannot squeeze anything in. So if you want a 3-day week, it gets harder because it has to be spread out over more time. Right?
And I can imagine you choose your classes sometimes also, yes, your interests, your requirements, but also how it fits the schedule, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, fuck. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, so people are saying, doesn't this take away agency from the student or take away the learning experience that could come from knowing how to manage your schedule more carefully, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe you, not Wednesday afternoons, but Friday afternoons you want to do like Dragon Boat or whatever. But now because of this Wednesday afternoon being blocked off, you have to take the class on Friday instead,
Yeah.
So it's more of an annoyance than anything. Yeah.
I mean, like I can understand maybe the motivation for this NUS 1, which is the program which is which has 3 core features . One is enhanced transition to university.
Yeah.
So there's like introductory activities, courses on well-being and resilience. Then the second pillar is self-discovery and self-development. So it is like trying to encourage more involvement in art, sports, community, and personal development. And as part of that is the Wednesday afternoon off and a holistic student experience and graduate narrative.
Yeah.
So it's about out of class experiences, and also I can understand the whole motivation is to have something more holistic. But this thing about the Wednesday off, it does feel like you're treating them like kids. And I don't know, I also saw some comments, doesn't feel like it's the most well received from students.
Yeah.
Right.
But at the same time, isn't there an element that, especially in Singapore, right, where your whole life you're taught to don't do anything unless you have permission, right?
Yeah.
In some ways, isn't this similar to when they mandated tray return, for example?
Yeah.
Where you know that if you just let people leave it to their own devices, please return your tray. It's such a nice thing to do. Nobody's going to do it, right? But when they mandated, okay, return your tray or you get fined, right? Then everyone really returned their tray, and everyone notice that, actually, it's so much more pleasant to come to when you don't have to clear trays of people and all that, right?
Yeah.
Don't you think maybe this is because of the environment we're in Singapore, where we are so we was rule-abiding bunch, that having this rule set in place for us kind of maybe will open people's minds about, maybe life is not just about studying, and this 3 to 6 thing will force me to take some time out to go and do other things. You think maybe that's then in a couple of years' time they can remove it when everyone's minds are a bit more open?
Actually, now that you say, I can imagine that being the train of thought.
Yeah.
But I still feel it's probably disconnected from reality. And I can see the benefit of that, because I remember reading about this one company, I think it's somewhere in Scandinavia, where at 5 p.m, right, all the chairs in the office, which are pulled down from the walls, would start kind of going back into the walls. Because it's tell people go home, you know.
Yeah.
And, you hear these things, even last time when I started work and all, sometimes if the boss doesn't leave early, you feel this pressure, right? Yeah. And sometimes you need the person to say, go home and don't worry. So I can understand the train of thought, but it still feels disconnected, that I don't know, actually maybe it is a thing.
Because it's not just the students. It's maybe also the lecturers and all that. They need to force them to not, do very heavy stuff on Wednesdays. Maybe that's what they're trying to do. It's not just about the students.
And maybe there is I don't know, research to show, maybe Thursday, Friday classes, they all taper off because people are so shagged out.
Yeah.
So they're Wednesday is hump day, Yeah. Let's give a midweek break.
Yeah.
But then even it still feels, maybe there's more to this that they didn't disclose, because it feels very random. Like what you said also, why Wednesday afternoon? That's literally in the middle of the week.
But the only rationale that can come to my mind is that to impose some form of okay, it's the middle of the week, take a break, where if you want to have any school activities or what, you can arrange it during 3 to 6 because you know that people will be free. They're not, right? Remember back in university when you want to have events or that, you kind of got to should I do it on a Friday night or Thursday night? When are people free? That kind of thing. But having this mandated break, then everyone is free, and the only reason they're not coming to your event is because they're not interested,
then now maybe you ask someone out on a coffee or something. Hey, Wednesday afternoon.
Don't come tell me you got class, Don't tell me about your class.
Fuck, this guy always asking me out on Wednesday night, Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, maybe it is one of those things. That's why I'm curious how students are finding this. I mean, based on the comments that we saw online, the initial response not the best, right? But maybe it is it feels too random to just be arbitrary,
Yeah. Probably I would imagine maybe some understanding or research about optimal timetables for students must have gone through this. Yeah. So I'm kind of hopeful that they had the students' welfare in mind, because remember we were discussing about some Singapore students who decided to forego their studies in the US and stay in Singapore because it's a better environment to study and things like that. And we all were like, wow, what the hell, right? But maybe it's initiatives like this that will force them to sort of just see it's beyond just studying. It's beyond just going to class and all that university. And then maybe this forces people to engage with the environment in the university a lot.
But maybe because it's just a 3-hour block. You want a full day, Wednesday cannot.
Actually, that would be the radical thing to do, right?
Because this 3 to 6 p.m, honestly, if how many things in uni can you not skip out if you really need to? Unless it's an exam, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it just feels like it's because it's scratching the surface, neither here nor there. That's why it feels like almost just do for show only. We are taking care of, wellness and mental health by giving this 3 to 6 p.m. slot that you cannot do anything. And I think there is some exception, right? If you still need to go to the lab or something, certain facilities, students with classes that require special venues such as laboratories might be exempted.
Yeah. So back in school, I was doing a lab module. Where every day I had to go to a lab to run some experiments. So this thing wouldn't mean anything to me. I would still have to go in.
So the person who wants to decline dates on Wednesday afternoon, you just say, I got lab.
I got that module.
Lab module. Like, oh, shit. I missed the opportunity.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I can empathize a bit. I mean, here we are. We don't go to NUS lah. We never went to NUS and all. But you know how it is lah. When you are in university or school, these things like mean the world to you, right? Making sure that your schedule is workable and that you maximize your hours lah in the university.
Yeah.
And I think this means a lot to the people who are affected by it also lah. So I can understand why they're so speaking up against it or what lah. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, some of the other things, I mean, they're trying to do to come up with a more holistic life for the students is a new sports team hostel called Valor House, which will be a space for athletes and sports enthusiasts to find others with similar interests. I mean, sounds interesting.
It sounds like the Olympic Village. Everyone knows what goes on in the Olympic Village, right?
Oh yeah. Oh,
find
sports.
Others.
Yeah, find others with a sports and similar interests. Oh.
I mean, if anyone's wondering there's always these talks about like the Olympic villages.
Yeah.
There's basically a lot of matchmaking going on in there, right?
I mean, a lot of sex, right?
Yeah, because good-looking, young,
athletic,
testosterone and filled,
estrogen
filled, just like raring to go, all stuck in a space for like a week. And that sounds just like what do you have here?
Valor House. Half of the vacancies will go to athletes and individuals who show sporting excellence, and the rest to other students.
Yeah, I guess you know what hostel you'll be signing up for.
Valor House.
Valor House. Yeah.
Valor House. And then there's a transition to higher education program to help freshmen adjust to university life.
Yeah.
I mean, good to see some steps being taken for mental health and wellness. But I guess only time will tell how effective they are.
Yeah.
But the Wednesdays off just felt like, this daycare like that.
Yeah. I mean, if it was a Friday thing, you think it would have been received better?
Even then, like the 3 to 6 p.m. off kind of thing feels a bit...
No, but you think about it, there's a lot of companies like where Friday, like 3 p.m., it's happy hour and we no more work already. Everyone starts drinking. You can be in the office, but you'll be less talking cock and drinking.
That's true. That's true.
Right. Okay. Then why students cannot, but then...
No, because it feels random like Wednesday. Unless everyone still comes to the LT, but it's just party.
Beer and pizza in the Valor Hall. Wow. I can't imagine, man.
Because this thing, I think some people on Reddit also were pointing out, they said this kind of things, even if you give students 2 months off, there'll be pressure to fill it up with a 2-month internship.
That's true.
Right. So maybe the thing is, you still come for lectures, but you cannot teach. You cannot fucking teach. It's just music, talk about feelings, like have a food party all. Yeah. That's what is needed.
Yeah. And I think that's one thing when we've been to the NUS campus and all that. It's a very beautiful campus, right? But we don't see the students like really using it very much, maximizing it. At least from the short experience that we had there.
Yeah.
Whereas I think when we were studying in the US and all, the moment the sun's out on a spring day, everyone's just on the lawn, throwing frisbee, playing football, whatever, right?
I think it's one of those where absence makes the heart grow fonder. So when it's winter, you don't see sun. First day of sun, of course, everybody will be out.
Singapore every day is summer.
Every day is summer. You tell your friend, hey, bro, want to go lie down on the grass in the sun? You're crazy. Why you want to go in the sun? Just sweat only. For what, man?
Correct.
Yeah, but I mean the campus, we went quite a while ago. Yeah. Now, if anything, the facilities are probably better. So yeah, I hope the uni students are having fun.
I'm sure they are. Yeah, I'm sure. University town.
University town, man.
But yeah, cool. If you're an NUS student, just let us know also, how you plan to maximize the 3 to 6 p.m. slot.
The 3 to 6 p.m. slot. Please do share with us your plans.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
Cool.
Cool.
It's been a while, but maybe you want to talk about what's your one Shiok thing since...
my one Shiok
comment. One Shiok comment. Yeah, one Shiok comment. Yeah.
Wow, there's quite a lot, but you go first.
This one I won't mention who but there were a couple of people who've in the last couple of weeks have come up and said they really enjoy the podcast. They say they recognize me because if I'm just talking in public, my voice, they recognize from my voice. But one thing I always like to ask when I meet people is like why they listen. So just over the weekend, I met a couple of listeners who said they listen because it really gives an insight to the Singaporean mind.
Singaporean
so I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Because, I mean, they're not Singaporean per se. But it was interesting that, they grit their teeth through the nuances of Singlish and everything that we run through, right? To understand how Singaporeans think. And we're not representative of, we don't represent all Singapore views.
Yeah.
But the fact that we actually try to read stuff on the internet and all that and bring it here, they enjoyed it a lot. So I thought it was a very, very, very interesting perspective that I never thought about what Yalabat could mean to non-Singaporeans. Yeah.
Peek into, you don't feel there's a lot of pressure. Peek into the Singapore mind.
But Singaporeans, we are not easy to read also you have to admit right? We generally keep a straight face. We keep our emotions to ourselves a lot of times, right? Especially when we're talking to foreigners and all that right? So in some ways, this is a bit of a peak, right?
A bit of a peak. Yeah, but I mean that is quite cool because we never say we're experts, right?
No, we're not.
We're just sharing the Singaporean perspective, and trying to make sense of the news.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, I guess for me, in general, how I caught wind of the Leong Man Wai kerfuffle was comments on our Reddit. So, I mean, it was just nice to see people, seeing Yalabat in the news and coming back and posting. So, yeah, quite a few people posted. I think Apprehensive Nail 971, Part-Time Bomo, of course, Jungle Jimbo 88. So yeah, shout out to all those who were keeping watch.
Yeah.
So there's my one Shiok comment.
Cool. And your one Shiok thing?
My one Shiok thing, right? There's this LA influencer that has gotten famous because he started a couple of social media accounts called $0 Tip on Instagram and I Don't Tip on TikTok.
Yeah.
And apparently he just records himself going to restaurants and not tipping as a statement against tipping culture.
Okay.
And he's based in the US.
Yeah.
So, of course, he's gotten a lot of flack. But he's also started a conversation about how the tipping culture has actually a negative impact on workers. Because a lot of restaurants and establishments pay a very minimum salary with the rest supposed to be made up by tipping.
Yeah.
So, I mean, of course, he's gotten a lot of hate comments. But he started a lot of conversations about the topic, which I thought, hey, actually... That's quite interesting, and he's just going all in
So in Italy, is that tipping culture?
It's not mandated. The US. I mean, I haven't been to the US for a long time, but I remember even when I was there, it was almost like if you don't tip, it is a sin.
Yeah.
I think in US in Italy they already charge a
service,
tax, a service tax. Maybe €2 for water and service tax and all.
Okay.
So yeah, there's no pressure to tip. You tip if you want.
Yeah.
But the US, I'm guessing it's even worse now. If you don't tip, because he said the turning point for him was when he bought a $3 bagel.
Yeah.
And on the register where you key in, you can choose your tip $1, $2, or $3.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm going to tip $3 for a $3 bagel.
Yeah.
And he has worked as a server, I think, before. And he said it's ridiculous all these. Baseline salaries for all these workers are deflated with the expectation that the tipping would make it up, and that's just not a healthy thing.
Yeah.
So I thought it's quite interesting. But he's getting a lot of hate also.
Yeah, because in recent years, I hear the US now is minimum 20 to 25% tip.
Serious?
Yeah, back when we were in school,
15, is it?
Yeah, 15% base. Yeah, and if it's good, then maybe 20%. Now it's base is 20-25% already.
Yeah. I mean, it just reduces the pressure. Because I remember last time I was just thinking, how much to tip and all that. Then, it's just never fun. But at the same time, if the workers are getting low salaries with the expectation tips will make it up, then it's also not fair to them.
Yeah. But I mean, in Singapore now also, service goods and services tax and service charge also is it usually causes quite a jump.
Yeah, it causes quite a jump. Yeah. Because it is about 20%.
About 19%. Yeah. So it's not like... It's not like, what you see is what you get in terms of the price or so.
But at least you can calculate it.
Calculate, yeah.
And I think there's the thing, of course, if you got a lot of money tipping and all, you feel good. But then it becomes a debate you have with yourself, and it's just not a nice feeling.
And tipping is very stressful because it's like almost like a personal thing between you and the server. And
Yeah.
Like if you don't tip them enough, it means that you're saying something about them and not necessarily the business or whatnot.
Yeah. And I remember last time in the US, I think like go out with a bunch of friends and the person who's paying, who we all pay back, give a low tip. Then other people say, hey, did you see how much you tip?
Yeah.
We gave 10%. What the fuck, man? Yeah. Oh shit. There's a whole nuance around it. It's not fun.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's, in some ways, that's why services like Grab also proliferated, right?
Yeah.
It dealt away with the bullshit of having to tip your taxi driver also.
Yeah.
I remember it was always a very stressful thing. Like you don't want to tip too little, so sometimes you watch the meter. Yeah.
Oh.
When I used to take the taxi, I would wait. I would hope that the meter would stop at a reasonable like $8.20 maybe, so I can give around $10 and then I'm good,
Oh.
But once it goes beyond like
10 or something,
10, then I gotta take out like 12 or something like that.
So you have to tip taxi drivers also.
Yeah, you have to tip also. Yeah. Or you just give and then say no change, that kind of thing, no need change. So it was just like stressful. It was very stressful.
Yeah. So I mean, interesting what this guy's trying to do.
Mm-hmm. My one Shiok Thing is a very disturbing Instagram channel, but it's called disturbing_comments. So it's actually quite funny also to a certain level, because they just take people's TikToks and then they overlay the most nasty comments that people are saying about the people in the TikToks on these videos lah. So
disturbing comments.
Naturally, there are videos of plus sized people. There are videos of various types of people that they overlay these really nasty comments on them. And I admit some of them are nasty, but some of them you watch it also, you might have a chuckle or two, right? And the disturbing comments in their profile, they say, "We do not promote bullying," and they put a link to stopbullying.gov.
Is it?
But the comments are all from the really nasty comments that people put lah. So just watch at your own risk. Although some of it is,
oh my god,
you might laugh at some of them. Yeah, you might laugh at some of them. Yeah,
shit.
Pinch of salt. Take it with a pinch of salt when you access this website or this Instagram page. Disturbing comments. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Cool.
Okay. Cool, man.
All right.
But yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. And remember, just follow us wherever you're listening to or watching us on. And the closing statement, Terrence.
You want to work with us? Please check out ministryoffunny.com. Yeah.
Sweet. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.